Am I the antagonist for telling my mom I don't want to invite my half-siblings to my wedding anymore? I am a 26-year-old female, and I have two half-siblings from my mom's first marriage. My half-brother is 11 years older than me, and my half-sister is 4 years older. Unfortunately, their dad passed away after my half-sister was born. My parents met 2 years later and got married after being together for a year. I came along a year after they got married, so I am their only child together. I have never really felt very close to my half-siblings. I have always known that they were incredibly close to each other. My half-sister adored my half-brother, and he treated her like she meant the world to him. Even after he moved out, he would always make sure to call her and stay in touch. I, on the other hand, didn't receive the same attention. I always assumed that if I really needed them, they would be there for me. However, I figured that losing their dad and being full siblings made them closer to each other than they were to me, even though my half-sister and I were closer in age than she was to my half-brother. 6 years ago, my dad was diagnosed with early-onset Alzheimer's, and my mom and I have been taking care of him ever since. 4 years ago, my half-sister got married, and my half-brother walked her down the aisle. Now I'm engaged, and while we haven't set a date yet, I asked my half-siblings if they would walk me down the aisle. I did consider having my mom do it, but she's exhausted from taking care of my dad. When my half-sister got married, my mom admitted that she was relieved it was my half-brother who walked her down the aisle because she was so tired. I didn't want to add any more pressure on her since she's even more tired now. Both of my half-siblings said no to walking me down the aisle and mentioned that they would probably be too busy to attend the wedding. I pointed out that I didn't even have a date set yet, and they didn't have a response. Their rejection really hurt me and made me realize how little they actually care about me. After thinking it over, I told my mom that I didn't think I was going to invite them to the wedding and explained why. I discussed wedding details with her when I'm home helping with my dad or giving her a break. She was genuinely upset about my decision, but assured me that she wasn't mad at me and understood my reasoning. Now my mom's siblings are furious with me. They say that I upset my mom so much and that I could have just invited my half-siblings for my mom's sake without mentioning the issue. Then, if they didn't come, it wouldn't be my fault, and my mom might not have even noticed. I find this suggestion absurd because how could my mom not notice her 2 children missing from her 3rd child's wedding? Their anger towards me is causing me to question whether or not I did the right thing. So, am I the asshole? First and foremost, it's your wedding day, and you have the right to decide who you want to include in your special day. It's understandable that you would want your half-siblings to be a part of it, especially considering their close relationship with each other. However, it is also completely valid for you to feel hurt and disappointed by their response. Family dynamics can be complicated, and it's clear that you haven't shared the same bond with them as they have with each other. It's not fair for them to dismiss you and make you feel unimportant. You made an effort to communicate your feelings to your mom, and she understands your perspective. It's unfair for your mom's siblings to place the blame on you and expect you to invite your half-siblings for the sake of your mom's feelings. It's important to prioritize your own emotions and not sacrifice your own happiness for others. Ultimately, it's your decision whether or not to invite your half-siblings. It's understandable that their lack of interest and dismissive behavior has made you question their care for you. It's important to surround yourself with people who genuinely care and support you on your special day. Am I the antagonist for telling my sister she doesn't get to call dibs on a name and can't expect people to read her mind? I, a 33-year-old man, have never had a close relationship with my sister Kate, who is 32 years old. Despite our small age difference, we've always been very different people. Kate has a bad habit of getting angry when people can't read her mind. This behavior started when we were kids. For example, if I took the chocolate ice cream before she mentioned that she wanted it, she would scream until our parents disciplined her. The problem was that she never expressed her desire for it until after I had already chosen it. Our parents would ask, sometimes even asking her first, and she would shrug, which led them to ask me. Then the tantrums would begin. The same thing would happen at our grandparents' house during movie nights. They would ask us what we wanted to watch, and she would say nothing. But as soon as I answered, she would throw a fit about it. When we were teenagers, our parents decided that each of us should cook for the family once a week. I would ask Kate questions like rice or noodles, and she usually wouldn't answer. Then she would get mad if I made rice and say she wanted noodles. If she did give me an answer, I would make that. But it was exhausting. This behavior extended beyond me as well. For example, she got upset with our girl cousins when they went to see a movie together during a family get-together because it was a movie she didn't want to watch. However, they all confirmed that she didn't speak up when asked what movie she did want to see. Some of her friends even distanced themselves from her because of her behavior. She also caused a major rift with her husband's sister due to a similar incident at her sister-in-law's wedding. Both Kate and I recently became parents for the first time. Kate and her husband had a boy, while my wife and I had a girl. We decided to name our daughter after my late grandmother, who had a special place in my heart. When Kate found out about the name, she became extremely angry and cursed at my wife, even though I wasn't present. Later, when she confronted me, she continued to curse and accused me of stealing the name she wanted to use for a future daughter. I became furious and yelled at her to stop. I told her that she couldn't claim ownership of a name and that it was unfair for her to expect me or anyone else to read her mind. I reminded her that she had never shown interest in using the name before and had even expressed negative opinions about using family names as first names. She had even made comments about being glad she wasn't named after a family member like I was. She argued that I was being insensitive and exaggerating her reaction, claiming that she had the right to be upset. She also told me to stop judging her. Her level of anger and upset took me aback, although I am still unhappy with her behavior. Am I the asshole in this situation? Your sister Kate has a long history of expecting people to read her mind and then getting angry when they don't. It is not fair for her to suddenly claim ownership over a name that you chose for your daughter, especially when she had never shown interest in it before, and even expressed negativity towards using family names as first names. You stood up for yourself and pointed out her pattern of behavior, which was necessary. She may be upset, but it is important for her to realize that she cannot expect everyone to cater to her unspoken desires. Am I the antagonist told stepdaughter she had to start cooking all meals when she visits? I have a 19-year-old stepdaughter named Molly. She attends college 2 hours away and visits us a few times a month for 2 days at a time. For the most part, she's pretty good, and I do love her and enjoy planning activities and outings when she's here. Lately, Molly has become extremely picky about the food my husband or I cook, but not any other food. She will try a dish, take one bite, and if she doesn't like it, throw it in the trash. I mean, throw the entire dish in the trash, not just the bite she tried. For example, I'll make a homemade lasagna that she's had many times before. She takes a bite, decides it's not to her liking, and immediately tosses the entire pan into the garbage. This always happens when neither myself nor my husband are in the kitchen with her. We've both asked Molly why she throws the food out, and it's always the same response. It wasn't any good and she can't eat it. We've asked her to please stop throwing away entire dishes because we will eat them. She says she doesn't want to even look at it anymore. As far as we know, Molly only does this with us. I finally told Molly and my husband, he agreed with me, that the next time she tosses a dish either of us has made, she will assume full cooking responsibilities when she's here. That way, whatever is made will be to her liking. It happened again, and I stuck by what I had said. Molly got upset and went to her mom's place, 30 minutes away, because her time with us or her mom is supposed to be fun and relaxing, not involving chores. Molly's mom called my husband in a rage, screaming about how we are treating Molly unfairly. She claims Molly's a child, and it's not that hard to just fix a different meal to make her happy. She accuses us of emotional and mental abuse. Molly's mom does not cook, so they either go out or order food for all of their meals. Molly is currently refusing to visit unless I apologize to her and agree that she can do what she wants with the food. My husband misses his daughter, but he's siding with me on this, saying Molly has been wasteful and disrespectful of our cooking and hospitality. We never cook anything we know she dislikes. When she's here, we tend to make dishes that she's always enjoyed before and ask for her input and suggestions. But she says she doesn't care what we make. I feel bad because I know this is hurting my husband, and I do miss Molly. Plus, I want her to spend time with us and have a good time doing so. Am I the asshole in this situation? It seems like you have been accommodating and understanding towards Molly's picky eating habits for a while now, but her behavior of throwing away entire dishes is wasteful and disrespectful. Your request for her to assume cooking responsibilities when visiting is fair, as it ensures that the food will be to her liking. It is not unreasonable to expect her to contribute or take responsibility for her actions, especially since she is an adult. This is not emotional or mental abuse, as her mom suggests, but rather a consequence of her actions. That being said, it might be worth having a conversation with Molly to understand why she behaves this way and find a compromise that works for everyone. It's important to maintain open lines of communication and show empathy towards her perspective, but it should also be clear that her behavior is not acceptable. Am I the antagonist for refusing to give my sister access to her teenage son's money? My sister and family overall have poor money management skills, and my nephew, recognizing this, asked me to control his money for him since I am more responsible and manage my money well. He values responsible financial management and, after discussing it with him, I agreed. He's only a junior in college, but he's earned a decent amount of money through little jobs he's done here and there, as well as lifeguarding in the summer. When he needs money for something, I give it to him. Originally, his account was linked to my bank, but in his name that way, I can do easy transfers for him when needed. Now recently his mom, my sister, and her husband somehow bought a house way beyond their means. I really don't know how they got approved. But now they are drowning in bills and consistently behind. My sister recently called her son in college and asked him to give them what he has so they can cover some bills. My nephew, being the honest kid, he has actually told them how much he has saved, upwards of $5,000, and they wanted all of it. He said no because he's saving this money for when he graduates so he can buy a car or maybe move out and start his life. My sister then forcefully tried to go to his bank and demand money be withdrawn, but she was denied since I am the main account holder. My sister called me and insisted I transfer her the money because it's her son and she has a right to that money. I stood my ground and said no, it's not fair to take from him and what he's worked for, especially since I know for a fact they won't pay him back. My nephew offered them a compromise of giving them $1,000 free and clear, but they want all of it, and I refused to release it as my nephew has told me he doesn't want to. Now my sister has called our mom and entire family to make me look like a controlling person and saying how I am trying to parent her son and teach him bad manners and not to help family. She's telling everyone I should give her control of the money cause it's her son. So, am I the asshole for standing my ground and refusing to give my sister access to her teenage son's money, even though he and I both think it's in his best interest to have responsible financial oversight? I'm wondering if I am, since they really need it and may lose a lot without it. But my nephew said no, and it's his money. It's clear that your sister and her husband have a history of poor money management, and it's commendable that your nephew recognized this and asked for your help in managing his finances. You've been responsible with his money and have his best interests at heart. Your sister and her husband should not be entitled to your nephew's hard-earned savings just because they are struggling financially. It's his money, and he has every right to decide how he wants to use it. You agreed to help him manage his money for a reason, and it's important to continue supporting him in his decision to save for his future. It's not fair for your sister to try to guilt you into giving her control of the money. Stand your ground and continue to do what's best for your nephew. It's not about being controlling, but rather ensuring that he has a secure financial foundation to start his life after college. My BF secretly destroyed my hobbies because he was jealous of me spending time with them instead of him. This is honestly the weirdest thing I've ever experienced, and I have no idea what to do. So I, a 21-year-old female, have a lot of hobbies. I'm sort of what you might call a hobby collector, laugh out loud. But my top ones right now are running, training for a marathon, baking, reading, and doing something called junk journaling. Not sure if anyone is familiar. Specifically reading, I've been doing since I was a young teenager. This started about 6 months ago when I saw that several of my old books were dog-eared, which I don't do to my books. I asked my boyfriend if he had read them, which I would be totally fine with, but he insisted he hadn't touched them. Odd, but whatever. Then after that, I literally could never find my running shoes. I bought a rather expensive pair and keep them separate from my other shoes because I'm a nurse, and my hospital shoes are nasty, laugh out loud. But the running shoes I could never find. They would always turn up days later though, somewhere I definitely hadn't put them. Again, odd, but whatever. And then my journal got completely destroyed. Somehow, it was left outside in our garage, where it is known to leak when it rains. It didn't necessarily get water damaged, but the moisture made all my pages peel up and practically 28 pages ruined. The pages take me over an hour each and I'm quite proud of them. 28 plus hours of my artwork, ruined. This is so stupid, but I genuinely started to believe the house was haunted, laugh out loud. I did shed a few tears over my journal, and my boyfriend rolled his eyes at that but helped me glue them all back down and salvage as much as possible. I had a fleeting thought that he put out there, but it was honestly so weird I was like, why would he? Then, it was back to my books. I have a huge bookshelf with about 200 books because I read daily. I started to notice one by one, they were disappearing. Like straight up, gone. I searched every corner of the house and could not find them. I even texted all three of my sisters, my brother and my boyfriend's sister, asking if they had borrowed any and didn't tell me. They all said they hadn't. My boyfriend's sister borrows my books often, but she always asks and insisted she didn't have any. When this happened I was like, what the fuck? And then it was my baking. I could never find my mixers or my baking sheets or anything whenever I wanted to bake. The final straw though was when I found my KitchenAid mixer broken, literally just would not turn on. And if you don't know, those things are expensive. I straight up asked him, did you do this? Like, why is all my stuff broken or lost recently? He finally admitted to purposely hiding or breaking my things because my hobbies annoy him. I'm not going to lie, I exploded. I told him he was a weirdo for touching my stuff and that it was honestly so strange to do this as an adult. He proceeded to defend himself, saying that I was spending more time on my made-up hobbies than with him, and this was the only way to make me focus on our relationship again. Which, for context, isn't true at all. We still have a great relationship, I thought. We go on dates twice a week, we have sex regularly, we get along with each other's families and friends. Like, I'm so confused. We've been together for 2 whole years. I love him so much, and other than this odd behavior, he's so good to me. After that argument, I was genuinely so distraught that I left the house and went to my sister's house, who lived together. They also agreed it was the oddest thing in the world. The icing on the cake when I got home this morning was that he threw out all of my stuff. Cut the soles out of running shoes, cut the laces, threw out my Apple Watch, destroyed the baking things, cut the silicone molds, the box that all my missing books were in the trash with all of my other journal supplies. The journal he helped me fix was torn to shreds. I genuinely started to sob. I know it sounds dumb and overdramatic, but I genuinely worked so hard on my journal that it made me cry. Literally hundreds of dollars and some of my favorite books in the trash. Money spent on baking supplies, which I used to bake for my baby cousin's elementary school, ruined. I just don't understand what is wrong with him. He's never been like this before, ever. I'm genuinely so fucking confused. What do I do? What has gotten into him? Is it something else he could be projecting? I'm genuinely so confused. First and foremost, it is absolutely not okay for your boyfriend to deliberately hide or destroy your belongings. This behavior is controlling, disrespectful, and completely unjustified. Your hobbies are important to you and should be respected by your partner. It's concerning that he admitted to doing this as a means of getting you to focus more on your relationship. Healthy relationships are built on mutual understanding, support, and compromise. Trying to control your hobbies is not a healthy or productive way to address any perceived imbalance. You mentioned that you have a good relationship otherwise, but this behavior raises some red flags. It is crucial to communicate your feelings and concerns to your partner. Express how hurt and upset you are. Let him know that his actions have caused significant damage and that this type of behavior is not acceptable. Consider seeking couples counseling or therapy to help navigate this situation. A professional can assist in addressing underlying issues and finding healthier ways to communicate and support each other's needs. It's also important to take care of yourself during this time. Surround yourself with supportive friends and family who can offer guidance and advice. Focus on rebuilding your hobbies and finding new ways to enjoy them, even if it means starting from scratch. Ultimately, you should assess if this is a behavior you can forgive and move past. Trust is foundational in any relationship, and rebuilding it after such significant damage can be extremely challenging. Only you can decide what is best for your own well-being and happiness. Remember, you deserve to be with someone who respects and supports your interests and passions. Would I be the antagonist if I didn't go to my brother's wedding? My brother began dating Anna approximately 2 years ago. I've never been fond of her because she associated with the girls who used to bully me in high school, and I still carry emotional scars from that period. When my brother introduced Anna to our family, I immediately expressed my concerns to both of them. I was astonished that he chose her, despite knowing how much I disliked those girls from my high school days. During that time, they would ridicule my appearance, intentionally trip me in the hallways, make jokes at my expense, and spread rumors about me. Due to these experiences, I have always had insecurities about my body and developed a tendency to be suspicious of others, constantly fearing betrayal or gossip behind my back. My brother told me to move past it, and Anna defended herself by saying she was friends with them but never actively bullied me. I disregarded her explanation and made it clear that I did not want her being part of my family. While I understand that I cannot control who my brother chooses to date and acknowledge that pressuring him or our parents to take sides was wrong, I have since learned from and moved past my actions. However, this does not mean that I have accepted Anna. Instead, I distanced myself from my brother and avoided Anna as much as possible. Unless absolutely necessary, I would steer clear of family gatherings, and during holidays, I only attended dinner and gift exchanges. If Anna and my brother were staying, I would opt to sleep over at my friend's house. I never confronted them after the initial incident. I tend to avoid outbursts of anger and only ask for things once. Anna and my brother often complained that I was excluding them from my life, but I remained indifferent. This Christmas, they got engaged, and although I congratulated them, I staunchly refused to participate in their wedding party. They were upset, claiming I was still resentful of the past and behaving vindictively. I informed them that I am not responsible for their emotions, just as they are not responsible for mine, and advised them to move on from their sadness. Subsequently, I left the gathering early. Since then, my parents have continuously urged me to let go and show kindness, insisting that I support my brother instead of being difficult. As a result, I am now contemplating not attending the wedding at all. Would I be in the wrong if I chose not to go? It can be tough when there are unresolved issues from our past that affect our relationships with people in the present. However, while it is understandable that you have reservations about Anna due to her association with your high school bullies, it may be worth considering whether your reluctance to move past those feelings is fair to Anna and your brother, who have been together for 2 years and are now engaged. Regarding whether you should go to the wedding or not, it ultimately depends on what you are comfortable with. If attending the wedding would be highly distressing for you, it might be better to prioritize your well-being and find a compromise that works for everyone involved. Open and honest communication with your brother and parents about your feelings might also help to alleviate some of the tension and better understand each other's perspectives. In any case, it's important to find a balance between your own needs and the needs of others. It's understandable that your parents want a harmonious family dynamic, but it's also essential for them to acknowledge and respect your feelings. It might be worth having a calm and heartfelt conversation with them about your concerns and discussing potential solutions that could satisfy everyone involved. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.